I was replaced 24 hours before my official recruitment by the CEO's niece. And that decision cost the company a $100 million deal overnight. But they didn't know that yet. My name is Sophia, and this is how corporate revenge starts. It was supposed to be my best day. I had just received the final recruitment confirmation email. Subject line, "Welcome to Global Finance Strategy Division." I still remember reading that email 5 times, because getting into Global Finance Group was not easy. They had over 2,000 applicants. I went through 3 technical interviews, 2 strategy case tests, 1 executive panel round, and 1 psychological evaluation. I passed everything. The HR manager even told me, "You are exactly what this company needs." That was yesterday. Today, everything changed. At 9 a.m., email. Subject, recruitment update. I opened it. My heart started beating faster. The email was short, very short. "We regret to inform you that the position has been filled internally due to strategic restructuring." No explanation, no apology, just rejection. 24 hours before joining. I felt confused, so I called HR. That was when I learned the truth. "CEO's niece joined the company," HR said casually. "Family policy decision." I stayed quiet. So my recruitment was canceled? Yes. Even after final confirmation? Yes. That was it. No negotiation, no review, no fairness. Corporate privilege won, merit lost. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I didn't send angry emails. Because anger is useless in corporate wars. Strategy is better. So I started researching. Natalie, business school graduate. 0 real experience, but excellent networking skills. And one more thing. She was scheduled to manage the $100 million international client acquisition deal. The deal I had helped design during interview case studies. Yes, I had indirectly helped build the strategy they were using, and they replaced me. 3 days after Natalie joined, the company announced aggressive expansion plans. Too aggressive. Financial projections were unrealistic. Sales targets doubled overnight. Client onboarding deadlines shortened. I knew something was wrong. Because expansion without operational support is dangerous. Very dangerous. Here is something they didn't know. During interview process, I had signed a consulting confidentiality agreement. Not employment. Consulting. Which meant I had already been contracted. Research work. Yes. Even before official hiring. Because they wanted my analysis insights. But when family politics interfered, they removed me from employment, but forgot to terminate consulting access properly. Big mistake. I kept monitoring public corporate disclosures. Then I noticed something disturbing. The $100 million deal was heavily dependent on one international banking partner. That partner had strict compliance risk requirements, and Natalie was pushing aggressive contract timelines. Too fast, too risky, too inexperienced. I started documenting everything. Because revenge is not emotional. Revenge is evidence. The first failure. 2 weeks later, client negotiations started failing. Communication errors appeared. Compliance documentation delays happened. Then, one major client sent warning emails. Project credibility started dropping. But management kept blaming external market conditions, not internal leadership decisions. The night I decided revenge was necessary, my phone rang at 11 p.m. Unknown number. I answered. Hello? Deep voice spoke. Is this Sophia? Yes. This is Daniel from Global Finance Risk Assessment Board. I stayed quiet. I know you were removed from recruitment, he said. How do you know? Because we noticed your strategic evaluation notes in our internal proposal review system. That was when I realized something shocking. My analysis reports were still being used internally, without credit, without acknowledgement. They wanted my intelligence, not me. The corporate war begins. Daniel offered me a role, not employee role, strategic risk advisory role, independent authority, higher pay, more influence. Importantly, control over deal risk evaluation. I accepted, because now I had access to internal deal risk metrics. And that was my weapon. I discovered something explosive. Natalie had been prioritizing speed over compliance safety. She was pushing documentation approvals without proper legal verification. Not illegal, but dangerous for large financial transactions. If discovered by regulatory auditors, the deal would collapse. And I waited, because patience is revenge. The collapse begins. 3 weeks later, regulatory compliance reviews started, and I submitted detailed risk reports, neutral tone, professional language, no emotional accusations, just facts. Facts are more dangerous than anger. The $100 million deal suspension. Within 48 hours, the deal was temporarily suspended. Investors started asking questions. Dropped 7%. Board meetings became emergency meetings, and management started panicking. The CEO called me, not angry, scared. Sophia, he said, can you help stabilize this situation? I stayed quiet. Then I said, you replace strategy with family loyalty. Silence. I can help, I continued, but not as an employee. They agreed, because they had no choice. Restructuring, slower contract approval timelines, experienced operational oversight, external risk auditing. They accepted, because losing $100 million was not acceptable. She called me. You planned this, she said. Yes, I replied. Why? Because you replaced experience with privilege. She stayed silent. Then I added, you didn't take my job. You inherited my opportunity. That was my final message. Reputation recovered. But leadership learned a painful lesson. Experience cannot be replaced by family connections. Months later, I received another job offer. Higher position, better salary, more authority. I accepted, not because I wanted revenge, but because success is the quietest revenge. And sometimes, being underestimated is the best advantage.